Hello and welcome back to my channel. We're doing another YouTube reading. Let's get the intake form and the chart going now. Are you having a problem you need help with? Finding my easy projector success from the financial standpoint. Okay. What is your biggest question? I'm wondering what my chart says about motherhood. Ooh, okay. I'm not a mom yet, but I desire to be. And being a holistic pelvic physiotherapist slash embodiment guide who has a big dream of keeping her business and having kids. Work, motherhood, success, projector, in particular, combining the two. But how do we do it with ease? I have a big desire to have kids and keep my business alive. What really stands out to me in the chart so far? Now I've got a channel of struggle projector. That's probably the most obvious thing that stands out to me. And I always notice channel of struggle because I think it's basically a comedy channel. As soon as you see this, you're like, oh no, I have to tell this person that they've got this thing called struggle in them. And on top of that, this is how this person makes their decisions. It's not that the struggle channel makes the decision, it's that the spleen makes the decision, but the only channel coming off of it is a channel of struggle. So when I've got a projector here who's thinking, I'm looking for my ease, I want to have kids, I want to maintain the business, immediately I'm like, I don't know how much ease we can expect in your life. However, when things are challenging for you, it doesn't mean they're not worth it. So, what is the struggle that's worth it? And are the children the struggle that's worth it? Is maintaining the business the struggle that's worth it? I have a hanging 27 in an undefined sacral center. That tells me that there's a huge point of prejudice for this person, as in when this center is defined and they start amplifying, there's kind of a thematic that's going to come up over and over and over again for this person, and it's gate 27. It's almost as if to say, like, in the sacral arena, they don't know much because there's no actual definition there. But gate 27, they're like, oh, I might kind of know a little bit about that one. Like, there's a familiar flavoring to that channel, or to that gate, sorry. There's a familiar flavoring to that gate. But the flavor of this gate is like, nurture the children, take care of the children, defend the children, make the kids survive, help the kids survive, ultimately support the children to survive. Anything else you need me to know? My partner's a 1-3 splenic projector. Together we have all centers defined except the sacral center. That actually really did help me, because I know that your partner doesn't have a hanging gate 50, because if they did, you would have defined the sacral center. So I know there's no hanging gate 50. But I have some concerns, but my concerns are definitely not me saying, like, don't do this, because 1, I'm not your authority. 2, I don't know what's actually right for you. I'm not here to say, like, do this, don't do this. I am here to say, if you do this, this might be something you're going to have to deal with. If you have kids, you're going to have to deal with the fact that they need a lot of your attention. They're going to need more attention than anything else you've ever taken on responsibility for. They're needier than your neediest client, they're needier than your neediest animal, and they're needier than 3 of your neediest clients and 3 of your neediest animals all in one day. They're deeply, deeply needy. That's exhausting for a projector, especially because the success of dealing with a baby is quite different, right? Like, it's harder for babies to invite, it's harder for babies to compensate you, it's harder for babies to recognize you. Most people, and when I say this, I really mean moms, but most moms they're tired after, right? Like, they're tired for the first couple of years. But think about the difference between like a tired sacral mom and a tired projector mom. We're talking different levels of tired here, because at least if the sacral mom has the response to their baby, they will generate energy in order to respond to their baby. You don't have that, and neither does your partner. I'll never tell you not to have kids, but I will acknowledge where challenges and resistance will likely come in. But also, all of that is entirely dependent on whether or not you actually having a kid is your choice. And I'm not so sure that it is. We're talking about this as if you get to be like, okay, today's the day I pick the kid, and then you get it. And like when I got pregnant with Maven, that was the day I was like, today's the day I pick the kid, and I got pregnant with him. And it almost sounds like a wild story, but I never managed to do it again. I had many miscarriages after that. Also, there's an amazing resource called The Design of Pregnancy. This might be something that is very, very interesting for you to look into. But the idea that you can just be pregnant because you want to be, we know in general that's not the way that fertility works right now, or ever. So what are the struggles that you're up against? If the powers that be decide to bestow you with a pregnancy. I had hoped, which is your transference, that, see, and even there I'm like, I don't, I would have hoped that your partner might be sacral, and they might be really wanting the baby, and that they might have a very lucrative income and lots of energy, and they're going to tell you either, one, they can hire all of the support that you'll need, or two, that they'll be all of the support that you'll need, or... But I'm wondering here, like, what do you have to fall back on when you're struggling too much? Do you have family that lives nearby and can help you? Are you and your partner making enough money that you can afford all of the support that you might want? But back at the top, are you having a problem you need help with? You said finding ease in your projector success from the financial standpoint, which tells me that your business, I don't know how well it's doing, but I would assume you just don't quite have the level of success that either you're capable of, or can be had, or is coming to you, or whatever. But what does my chart say about motherhood? I'm not a mom yet, but I desire to be. I got a guilt motivation person here. This is a fix-it motivation. They're a holistic pelvic physiotherapist and embodiment guide. And they have a fix-it motivation. This is the kind of person where when their clients come to them, they don't say like, hey, I hope your issues work out for you. I hope you find the right person to help you with. She's like, no, I am the right person to help you with this. Let's fix it. I opened with some significance on gate 27, and I'm just realizing now it is the personality sun, and it's where a huge part of the second line gifts are. And then 28 is another second line, and it's half of the channel with their authority. So I'm looking at their struggle, and I'm looking at their want to nurture, and I'm seeing how this is such a strong, I won't even say energy or awareness or conditioning, like it's just a huge part of who they see themselves as. And yet I'm like, see themselves as with the second line and with a projector. Like, I can see things here, but can they see them? Most of the time when projectors are asking for my perspective, They're not even necessarily asking for my opinion or my advice or my guidance. A lot of the times they're looking for validation. Do I see in this person the same thing that this person feels? Feels in themselves. Oh my goodness. What cognition are we dealing with today? Does anybody that doesn't have feelings cognition want to hire me? Like, what? I'm very, very flattered that I have so many right brain, right minds. I'm like, this is my path? Is this my path? Right brain, right mind? Nothing but feelings cognitions all over the place. Okay. I also think, like, the last 3 were kitchens environments. I know for a fact the next 2 that I'm going to do have channel of struggle. The patterns are just, they're so fascinating. I never do a single piece in isolation. There's always repeats of these people want to know this stuff right now. How are you going to keep your business and have kids? You're going to need support staff. Can you afford it? And if not, who's volunteering? And also, people don't like to volunteer to babysit that much. Even grandparents, they'll be all like, have the baby. And then you're like, okay, well, will you come help me take care of it? And they're like, no, we're busy. Oh, God, 2027. I can't, I'm busy. I can't, I'm busy. I can't, I'm busy. Are you feeling pressure to have a baby before 2027 because of the rave potential? That's just an interesting question. And what about your partner? Does your partner know that they're a splenic projector? Do they act like a splenic projector? Are they interested in human design? Do they know anything about the rave babies? Just because your partner is a splenic projector doesn't mean they live like one. But if they're a splenic projector and they married you and you're a splenic projector and you work in the health field, there's a good chance that they're not too far off the mark. They recognize something similar to them. Now, you've got a 31.4 in your design Earth and a 7.4 in your design South node. We're very heavy on the 4th lines on the design side. Like, actually quite heavy, because if I go further down, 54, 4, 58, 4, 38, 4. Look how many 4s there are just in that root center. 41, 4. Where's the 52? Oh, 52, 3. Okay. We got a lot of 4. Like, yeah, this person's a 2, 4, but like, we have a lot of 4. 4th tone. Okay, well, the quality of inner vision in the environment is one of the least significant things I'm going to point out in the variable. But wanting view also being a 4, that one's more significant. An ability to see what's missing and to focus in on what's missing. Their focus should only be grabbing what's missing and indicating what action could be taken from it. If she's distracted, she's looking to the sides, looking for the answers, looking for the bottom, looking for the truth, looking for trying to find something as opposed to being aware of what's missing. And if she's trying to find something, she's going to be distracted and she won't focus on the right thing or take the correct action. But I can't put too much emphasis on the words like action because these are qualities within the view perspective. They don't actually have action sense. They have acceptance sense because they're receptive. We have a lot of 5, 6 between the brain and the mind. Light, touch, acceptance, truth, frequency, feeling. Indirect light. If you're indirect light determination, you might have, and who knows, maybe you'll have a baby that also has indirect light determination. Like, we don't know how these things are going to go. But if you have a baby that's also indirect light, you'd both be nighttime feeders. Or like, you would feed at the nighttime, they'd be hungry at the nighttime, you'd be hungry at the night. You guys would be hanging out at the nighttime a lot. What's your partner's determination? Like, in general, what's your partner's schedule? Which is also kind of a silly thing for me to ask because those things could very, very much change by the time you have a baby. A lot of the times, I think that when projectors want to have kids or when projectors want to have relationships, like let's say you are single and kid free as a projector, it's almost like two extreme ranges of projector success. If you're solo and you're not successful, you're likely going to think that having kids or having a relationship is the pathway to your success, especially because it's marketed to us like have relationships, have families, like that's the human way. It's changing. If you don't have a relationship and you don't have kids and you don't have success, you will likely try and achieve the success through the children, through the friends, through the relationships. If you're a very successful projector, though, you're invited, you're recognized, you have a good reputation, you're compensated, like you're busy guiding the people who've asked you to. The drive to be in relationship or to become parents or to honestly even really have a social life with friends, it goes down a lot. Like a lot. I'm not going to say that like you want kids because you're not successful. Like, I have a child. I desperately it's weird. I want to say wanted a kid, but honestly, I don't know if I wanted one. I just knew I was having one. Like, I knew that I was going to be a mom. I knew that I was going to have a kid. I would make jokes about, like, probably only have one. Little did I know I wasn't really joking. But I knew I was going to have a kid. And the day that I got pregnant with Maven, I said earlier that day, like, oh, I'm getting pregnant today. And I did. Like, sometimes there's a knowing. And kind of back to what I said about, like, whether you think you want to or think you don't want to or think you can or think you can't, in many ways, you don't know until you know. Like, obviously there's a level of biology that has to happen to even make this a possibility. But if you're doing the biology that could make this a possibility and you're not getting pregnant, whose choice is that? Or you are getting pregnant? Like, whose choice is that ultimately? On one hand, I might be like, the third line way, pull the goalie, see what happens. You really want a baby? Let's see if you get one. And if you never got one, maybe you're not supposed to get one. And maybe at the end of it, you're like, oh, I'm not even upset about it. I gave it. What if you found out right now that even if you gave yourself all of the possibility to get pregnant, it just wasn't part of your movie? And I don't know how, like, your mind is going to feel about that, but for some of us, it's part of the movie, and for some of us, it's not. I thought my movie would have a lot more kids than just one. I got one. If I were to try and have another baby, though, let's just say I could make it happen and I were going to try, how would I protect the business that I've actually built so far? I would need support in place. I would need, for myself, at least 3 hours a day where my focus is not interrupted and I'm still allowed to have my success with my clients. I'm still able to have intellectual conversations, to study my system. One of the hardest things for me about being a younger, newer mom was I genuinely just felt so dumb after the first year of raising a baby because they don't talk. And that being said, like, if I were to re-enter that experiment now, it would be very interesting because I would know that I'm playing with a sacral baby. But even then, like, maybe it would be more stressful because I'd be all up in my head about, like, is that a response? Is he responding? Is he talking? Is he babbling? Is he upset? Like, and all of it's just a learning experience. It's literally just an experiment. I don't know. What do you want? What can your partner give you? How on board is your partner? And also, y'all are spontaneous, so you might talk and talk and talk and talk a lot about kids. But then the sex that leads to one is really like, hey, you want to hop into that bathroom for a second? Like, and you're splenic people. I don't even think you think that's dirty. You probably are like, that's hot. Oh my goodness. I don't think that you can't do it. And I won't tell you not to do it. But I also don't think it's up to me, and I don't actually even think it's up to you. Is there anything else I want to say about variable? We had the nighttime feeding, we got feelings, we got kitchens. I do have concerns that if you are like home alone with a baby, that you will just be absolutely understimulated. Absolutely understimulated. And as a receptive being, I don't know if you're going to think that your baby is like pulling the depth out of you. I think mentally you would struggle for a little while, but it again doesn't mean bad. It doesn't mean don't do it. It doesn't mean wrong. It means put your supports in place. And also, call me crazy, but don't think about it too much. You're splenic. I'm getting total goosebumps right now, but I'm like, it's in the moment or it's not. Your partner's going to look at you and be like, you want to pull the goalie? And something in you is going to be like, this is the struggle worth fighting for. Or not, you know? And pulling the goalie implies that you're on birth control or that you're using some type of preventative stuff. Who knows if you are or not? I'm just using phrases that make this more understandable. This has been very different and interesting. I liked this. Thank you. On to the next one.